So part two of this series, Jamie, we wanted to focus on the design, the inspiration, the natural elements of the home. Tell us, from when you walked down here with the designers, how did that process go?
Yeah, so a big part of the inspiration of the design was like we said before, the property. And so here we're on the beach in front of the house, and so early in the process our design team came here and looked for that inspiration. And so we came down to the beach and we saw the rock formations, the colors, and what was beautiful about this part of the island. And we really wanted to bring that inspiration into the design of the home. So a lot of the form and the interior design elements and the exterior design elements came from these formations and the colors that we see here on this beach. So this here is a really important stage of this build specifically. As you can see, the house is orientated kind of where we had to put it. There wasn't a lot of options on this particular property, but anytime we have a property with an ocean view, it's orientated towards that view, and everything is built towards that and seeing what's beautiful about the property. So we try to incorporate a lot of what's here on the property into our design. And so the form and the look of the house is really to match what we see and what's around us.
It's beautiful, Jamie. Like the finishes that you have chosen to go with really talks about longevity. Like some of the rough cut fascia boards that we see on here, like that really speaks to where we are situated on the property, but I still have that feeling of like I'm in the forest. And I really love that you guys were able to incorporate that into the house, and it really just shows that where we are on the west coast of the island, and it's just, yeah, nice finishes.
Good. Yeah, it's definitely something that we try to bring into incorporate into what we're doing here. And longevity is always a part of that. Durability, sustainability are all things that we bring into the design.
I noticed as well, like it looks like the exterior of the home is going to be wrapped in a rock salt. Is that for a specific reason, or why is it going to be wrapped?
Yeah, so we have this rock salt insulation. It's going to be, the whole exterior is going to be wrapped in it. It's 2.5 inches of that insulation. So it's to give it that nice warm jacket around the house. So it's warm in the winter and cooler in the summer. And it's really so that we have less thermal bridging around the house. We have a continuous R value of insulation around the entire house. So it's important for that comfort and how the house is going to function.
There's a lot of us that don't really know what a passive home is, and we kind of talked about this and how you guys build better homes. Can you run us through what a passive home is and how you guys apply it to the build?
Yeah, so we take the 5 passive house principles and apply them to all the designs of all our homes, and what you get is a comfortable and healthy home. And so this house is not a passive house. We've built several of them, but this one we call a pretty good house. So we take those 5 passive house principles and build them to the level that we're all comfortable with in conjunction with the client. So those 5 passive house principles are super airtight construction, continuous insulation, thermal bridge construction, passive house windows and doors, which is super high level windows and doors, and the last one is HRV, which is the lungs of the house, a heat recovery ventilator, which gives us a nice, healthy, comfortable interior environment inside the home.
So healthy, comfortable, and the idea being if I was standing beside a window, I would have the same temperature and the same comfortability and feeling as I would if I was standing in the kitchen next to the stove.
Yeah, that's the best part. And we've all been in a house, Chase, where you're standing by a window, or you're in a basement, or you have that room that maybe you grew up in that was super cold, and your parents told you to put on a sweater. Well, in this kind of home, you don't need that. You're comfortable everywhere. You hear that thing where if you want to get some fresh air, then you go for a walk. Well, inside this house, you just walk around the house.
So now that we are in the interior of the home, we talked about the exterior and the unique things behind it. I want to talk about the mechanical and the thought process that now that we're inside, that speaks to the comfortability and the health of the house.
Yeah, so this particular house, the mechanicals were very important, and I'd say it's probably important in most houses, or all houses. And so the mechanical in this house, we have 4 heat pumps, actually 4.5. We got one for the wine room. So 4 heat pumps, 2 are for the radiant in-floor heating. And so we have heat pumps, air to water source to heat the in-floor heating. So we got concrete floors here throughout the house that have that in-floor radiant heating, which is really comfortable and nice because you can feel it all the time. And then we have air source heat pumps as well to heat and cool the house. And then, of course, what we were talking about, the lungs of the house, the HRV, which you can see here, these tubes that run throughout the house that provide constant fresh air and exhaust constantly all the time.
You mentioned there's 38?
There's 38 of these tubes, so they supply, but also exhaust things like bathrooms and kitchens, where you have your most smells and things you want to exhaust in the house. And the heat recovery ventilator we have in here is up to 90% efficient. So all the heat that you've already paid to heat inside the house goes to that heat recovery ventilator and recovers 90% of that heat and preheats that air coming into the house.
Is that going to be like your primary heat source then? Is that kind of how an HRV system is? Like, how do you kind of look at it?
No, it's not your primary source of heat. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it in any house like this. You know, you take into consideration how many people are in the house, the electronics, the appliances, but you're also using the heat pumps, and the radiant in-floor heating will be the main sources of heat.
Okay, and then also, as you mentioned too, like the triple pane windows, those are things that are really important to maximize that 90% efficiency inside of the house. On top of that, like, what does it kind of look like for the in-floor heating system? Like, how is that heated? How's the...
Yeah, so it's a heat pump that brings in hot water, and then it runs it through the floor. So we have these tubes that run through the floor that carry that hot water that heat up the floor. And it's really everything that we talked about, all those principles, is everything working as a system, working together. Without one of those things, so if you didn't have very good windows, you'd have a weak spot. If you didn't have continuous insulation, you'd have a weak spot. So it's all those things working together, so it's important that all those principles work together in a house as a system in order to get a high performance home.
Amazing.
Thanks again for showing us the exteriors of this home and what makes it so special.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see this stage of the build and to be able to see those 5 passive house principles. The walls are open and we can see some of those details come through.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So stay tuned, because the next video, this house is going to look completely different. We get to look at the finishings and talk to Jamie about why he chose what he chose. So stay tuned.